So welcome to the second call for you guys, second week of being a coach. And just to kind of kick things off really in terms of expectations for where you should be in terms of your training. If you started last week, I would say by now you should be at least unit 5. You should have had your second call with your coach. So you should have had that call where you finished unit 3 and you have had that conversation with your coach where they're going to discuss with you how to set up your boot camp and how to call that to action in terms of the call to action visuals that you are going to create, the marketing strategy in terms of ensuring that you are calling your virtual gym to action for 2 weeks, and what to include in those visuals, and also to write a list. Okay. And so just because Amy's just joined, hi Amy, I'm just going to recap. So kind of in terms of like keeping pace with the training and where you should be right now in terms of 1 week in the coaching, you should at least have got to be on to unit 3, preferably unit 5 by now. If you're doing a unit a day, you should have had that second call with your coach. So in your initial, like when you started, you had a call, and then when you finished unit 3, you're having another call with your coach so they can help you strategize your first boot camp, talking to you about your bod group, or if indeed you want to set it up in Facebook, as well as creating your call to action visuals. Those visuals, if you've seen my stories over the past few days, you will have seen mine. I'm going to share them with you guys in the chat after this call so you can see the kinds of things that we include in those call to action visuals for your boot camp. And it is so fundamental, guys, that you are giving yourself 2 weeks in the lead up to your very own boot camp starting. And that's not to say that you can't use your coaches or certainly any of my groups to add your girls to if you also want to run your own, but you want them to be in the ethos of a bigger group. The door is always open, but I can tell you from the get-go, the coaches that will see success, that will hit Success Club, which really needs to be your non-negotiable, guys. If you want to make kind of a serious run at this business, you need to hit Success Club in your first 4 months. You need to be creating your own boot camp. The coaches that do well and always hit Success Club those first 3 months, or the 3 out of their first 6 months, are running their own groups from the start. They are inviting to their own groups from the start, and they are doing the daily check-ins for their clients from the start. Because of course, or perhaps you guys can't see that, but when you start to run your own groups, it gives you confidence, right? It's really fun to run it. It's great to help your clients get results. So if you haven't completed unit 3, please try to work through that as quick as you can. I can promise you that the momentum that you manage to keep up running your workout with your superfood, with your training right now, I promise you is going to define your success in this business. And I can also promise you that it doesn't take that much time. And if we're saying in our head that it's going to take a lot of time, that's a mindset block. And so that's why at the moment, you guys should be doing your workout every day. You should be doing your Beachbody Champions unit every day. And you should be listening to your personal development every single day without fail for at least 15 minutes. If you've got any questions on personal development, or you want ideas on that, definitely ask. You're a Badass, as I said last week in last week's call, is the one that I would absolutely go for. And so I'm making the assumption now, on the basis that you're moving into your second week, that you are having your superfood every single day. You are doing your workouts every single day that you're on in terms of the program that you're following. You're sharing your clips. You've got 10 stories in your Instagram every day. And again, I know some of you guys have been talking about how scared you are to do video kind of conversation to the camera, and I know how that feels. And just know that everyone feels terrified. Like me, Joe, Gail, all of us felt terrified, absolutely terrified. I so nearly didn't do it. And now it's one of the things I love the most, because I know that's how people build connection with me. And it's how I can find my tribe and connect with my kind of people, because they're getting to know me best, and they're going to get to know you best by you actually talking to the camera, because they're going to see the kind of personality that you are. And ultimately, you want to be attracting your tribe. the fundamental importance of having the superfood every day is that you can't be proof that this works, and you can't know whether or not you believe in this coach opportunity if you aren't all in. Okay, so if you're having a superfood one day and you're missing it the next, you need to call yourself out on that now, because I promise you, your success with this business is super simple in the first 3 to 6 months, so long as you are following your workouts every day, you're having your superfood every day, you're sharing what you're doing your personal development, and you're keeping up with the training. Okay, so kind of the purpose of this call today is to get you guys sort of workshopping something that I've shared in the group. And I know for me as a newer coach, when we were told to write a list of 100 names, immediately I said to myself, I don't know 100 people I want to invite, and I certainly don't want to invite 100 people that I know, because I'm too worried about what they think. And because of that, I always on the second call get you guys actually to, I'm literally going to put you on a timer, get you to physically write a list of names. Okay, and then you're going to highlight, or hopefully you've got a couple of different colored pens, maybe you just do a 1 or a 2 next to their name, who would potentially be good at a boot camp, and who potentially that you know, these are all people that you know would be good at the coach opportunity. And then I'm going to put my trust in you guys that you are going to actively invite those people to either one of those. The coach opportunity, I have a script for that I will share after the call, so I'm just going to put that in my diary so that I remember to send it. To invite someone to the coach opportunity, if it's a friend, all you're going to do is plug them into the info session that we did, that Charlotte, Olivia and I did. So you don't actually need to explain anything. If they're interested and they've been watching you a little bit and they're even slightly interested, just say, don't worry, I'm not going to spend loads of time explaining it to you. I'm super new, but there was an info session. Yeah. So for me as a new coach, honestly, I found that easier, because I didn't need to explain what a boot camp was, right? Like I just got them plugged into my coaches group and off they went. So what we're going to do for the next 5 minutes is I'm going to set a timer, okay? And you're going to start writing that list, okay? The other thing that I really want you guys to ensure you are doing, and it's kind of like a box to tick, is have you downloaded Get Over Your Damned Self by Romy Newstad. That book, Get Over Your Damned Self by Romy Newstad, is the book that I listened to as a new coach, and it got me doing this stuff, because she talks about how the success in your business is going to be determined by these actions that you take now, by writing this list, and by actually not only writing the list, but by taking the action, okay? And that book kind of freaked me out, because I was like, well, either I'm going to do the stuff the book tells me to do, or I may as well just forget it. And it kind of solidified what I was being taught. And for that reason, I think that audiobook is going to be like a real comfort to you guys when you're doing this stuff that, quite frankly and honestly, is not going to be easy. I hated the idea of inviting my warm market. I absolutely hated it. But my first 3 months hitting Success Club, all 9 of the people that joined me were all people that I knew. Okay, so building your cold market, i.e. people you don't know, is going to take time, because of course they don't trust you yet. And I can promise you that your success with this is going to be determined by this list, and your ability to reach out to as many of those people as possible. And usually what happens after these calls is people go, oh wow, thanks so much for getting me to do that. I've actually got someone who's interested. I had no idea they'd be interested. Because again, be really conscious of this when you're writing the list. Oh, I'd write her name. Oh no, she won't be interested, right? Don't make assumptions about anyone, okay? Because, and this goes for warm or cold market before we actively do this task, we never know what's going on really in someone's head. We never know where they've reached the point where they actually are like, I'm sick of this and I have to make a change today. Okay, we don't know when that is, even if they're our friends or not. So you never know. You might have someone really close to you who you're like, they'd never be interested, but maybe they have got really out of shape in lockdown and they're feeling really lackluster. And as we said on Sunday, like what we do has never been more needed. People need this more now than ever, because a lot of us are at home, we're overeating, we're emotionally eating, we're not exercising. People need this, and I'm sure your friends and family will too. So you'll be really surprised, I promise you, by the amount of warm market that will be interested. Yeah, and Gail's right. If you don't ask them, someone else might, and then you'll find your friend or friend of a friend in someone else's group, and you'll be like, damn, I should have just got over myself. So remember, they probably won't view your invite in any way other than, oh, that's really helpful. Whereas you're like, oh, what are they going to think? Like, they're going to think I'm part of some scam. Like, da, da, da. You know, all those thoughts, we just got to take control of them. Okay, so before I go off on another tangent, I am going to set the stopwatch for 5 minutes. And ideally, you've got 2 colored pens. Otherwise, you're just going to do 1 and 2. 1 will be boot camp and 2 will be coaching. And try to be really aware of when you're like, no, I can't ask that person, right? Write their name. Okay. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to type up a bootcamp invite that I'm using, and then you could essentially use that. You might want to invite them in your own way, but just so that you kind of rip the band-aid off and just go for it. So off we go. Let's give you guys another minute. Okay, so how many names did we get? If you want to just pop it in the chat box, how many names you've got on your list, just to see how many you managed to write in that 5-minute period. Well done, Alice. That's amazing. Really good. Great work, guys. Really, really good. Amazing. Amazing. Well done, guys. That's really good. The reason why I asked that was it was well done. That's amazing. It's kind of really oh, well done, Joe. Joe did it too. Love it. Really fundamental here to call yourself out on how long did I procrastinate over whether or not to write that person's name down, right? And just start becoming really aware of that, because this is something that you can carry through to your business as you build and you start asking people that you don't know. The kind of biggest kind of thing that holds us back in the start is self-doubt and worrying what people think. And so we will go into someone's page and we're like, I might invite that person. Oh, I'm not sure that one. I'm not sure what they'll think. Oh no, I won't ask them. Right. So we have this like little conversation in our head, and that's wasting so much time. And that's why I say, like, literally get a list together. Like, I know Gail, for example, Gail's amazing example of just doing this was she created a free group. She created a free group. We're not here to talk about free groups today, but we'll talk about that in time. And she literally was like, Izzy, I just absolutely shat myself, and I went for it. And I literally messaged every female in my Facebook list, anyone I knew, and I felt sick, but actually I didn't really look at their names, and I just sent them an invite and a link to my free group. That is how you want to be with this, guys, because I promise you, hand on heart, if you can rip that band-aid off, as long as your Instagram is linked to your Facebook, they're going to see your stories. And if you are showing up and you are doing your workouts and you're doing Ultimate Portion Fix and you're feeling the results and you're telling them like how you're feeling and the way it's making you feel, I can promise you, because you have sown so many seeds, that when you start talking about your boot camp, okay, and they start to see the visuals, they're all going to be like, literally, like, I don't know, like little bunny rabbits, like looking over a wall at you. And as soon as they see a result that piques their interest or something that you've said, they're going to hop. So when you follow up, they'll be like, yeah, actually, do you know what, I want to join. And it is this part, I promise you, you've just got to trust me, it's so easy to get your friends and family or friends and friends enrolled, as long as you do that. Because remember, or maybe don't remember because maybe you don't know yet, but an invite is a seed sown. Okay, so an invite isn't, hey, yeah, that sounds great, I'd love to join you. It's not going to work like that, guys. So think if you can just set yourself up for, all of my friends and family are going to be like, no thanks, or not right now, maybe in a bit, because they're saying no and they're saying not right now because they don't trust you yet and they haven't seen the results. And do you know what that's going to do? When you sow those seeds, you better bet you are going to make sure you get those results, because pressure's on, right? You've sown the seeds and now they're all watching you. So you better bet you better get a result. And that, for me, and I know for Joe and for Gail, was the case. When you sow those seeds, it makes you so determined to get the most unbelievable results, because you know that your success in helping your friends or family or friends and friends get started is going to be determined by you then showing up in your stories, sharing what's going on and all of the rest of it. And I can promise you, you will hit Success Club so long as you follow that strategy. Okay, so ripping that band-aid off then is going to become fundamental, because all eyes are on you, right? So making those visuals in Canva is really, really fundamental, and making sure, guys, and I know I had a chat with Sarah earlier on this week, or maybe it was even last week. Yeah, it was last week. The weeks are like all blending into one. We spoke about making sure that when she's talking about her boot camp, that she's given herself a 2-week lead-in, but that actually in some capacity she is talking about it every day. And if you go into my stories right now as an example, you'll see I am calling to action my boot camp, which starts prep week on the 2nd of November and goes full swing on the 9th. Okay, so for every single day until the 9th of November, you are going to see me talking about the boot camp, or at least sharing the visuals every single day. Because if you think about marketing, positioning of, perhaps you've seen a pair of trousers you like, you've seen a pair of gym trousers that you like and you've looked at them, and then you go onto another website and they bloody well follow you around everywhere. And in the end you go, F it, I'm just going to get them. I'm obviously meant to get them. This is exactly how what we do works, right? People are thinking about it and they're like, oh, maybe, oh no, maybe not. And then you sow the seed that they see the visual another day and they're like, maybe not. And then they see it again and again. And then maybe you follow up and they're like, damn it, I need to. That's exactly how this works, guys. Okay. And if you believe in the value of what we have to offer and you're feeling it and you are loving the results and you're all in and you've never felt so good, which quite frankly, you will never feel so good as you will on these programs if you're going all in, hand on heart. That's my belief. And that's why I see success, because I believe there's no better solution. Then they're going to hear that in your voice and they are going to join you. They are going to join you. But if you do yourself the disservice of being like, oh, everyone's going to hate me, they're all going to unfollow me, they're going to see my bootcamp visuals every day and and all of this, then you're really shooting yourself in the foot, because you're not going to fill your bootcamp. And ultimately, guys, mentality wise, I want you to make that shift with your social media, whether or not it's brand new or it's established and you're building your business on there, that this business is not going to be for everybody. The bootcamp isn't going to be for everybody. And so people are going to unfollow you. Okay. And people are going to follow you. So the more that you're true to who you are and remembering that this is a business, it is not a popularity contest, the more you are going to find your people. Okay. So prime example, last week I posted in my social media, or about 10 days ago, a quote, and it didn't get many likes. And I was like, oh, that's really rubbish. And I actually went into the insights and it got shared about 10 times. Okay, so it got shared a lot. And that for engagement is better. The value of the content was better received. It had less likes, but it was really popular. Okay, so actually, incidentally, quotes are a really good thing to use if you're trying to build like your traction in social media, but try not to worry about it being a popularity contest. It is not. Your likes and engagement will grow as you build, as you start to find more of your people. And if you can remain true to who you are through this process all of the time, and remember why you're doing this, that hopefully a lot of you guys were on the call last night, you wrote out your vision and your why, right? That vision and why will not come to fruition if you are worried about what all your friends and family think that actually aren't interested. Because I'm going to be honest, a lot of your friends and family are not going to be interested. They're going to wonder what the heck you're doing. And you're going to have to find that strength of mind as, do you know what? I'm not going to worry about that, because they're not all going to love it and they're not my people. And ultimately it's not for everyone. It's all horses for courses, but your success will be determined by your ability to kind of just get over that, honestly. Yeah. Oh gosh, most of my school friends have unfollowed me. Some of my family have unfollowed me. My brother says to me, how's the Beachbodying going? You know, and I'm like, match my corporate income of 10 years and 2.5. Like, that's pretty insulting to me. Like, he's a lawyer. I'm from a real like professional background. Like, what I'm doing is frowned upon. But I literally, it's water off a duck's back. I couldn't care less, because nothing that anyone says or does is going to change me doing what I'm doing, because I believe in it so much and I know the value of what I have to offer, even if my family can't see it. Okay, so and that's not going to come tomorrow, guys, but just remember what I've said when you're thinking, oh, I can't share this again, like I'm really worried about what XYZ is going to think, which it is normal in the beginning. And I'm not going to say you're not going to have those feelings or emotions, because you've got to kind of be able to recognize them. So that's really your strategy. Okay, so if you haven't finished unit 3, guys, please work to finish that as quickly as possible, because we are approaching the end of the month and the beginning of a new one, and this is prime time for you guys. Any disposable kind of additional income that people have, when are they going to use it? When they've had payday, right? Particularly at the moment, they're going to invest in their health around that time. And if we miss that window because we're slightly behind on the training, then we're going to hit them in the middle of the month. And that's going to make it a lot harder for you guys. And I'm not going to say that you still won't see success, because I'm sure you will, but we want you to hit that, promoting that call to action on the bootcamp really as quickly as you can, with kind of 10 days of the bootcamp under your belt. Hopefully by that point you've followed Ultimate Portion Fix, you're having your Shakeology every day, you are feeling insane, you're sharing your workouts, and then they start to see, oh my goodness, like Alice is sharing this new bootcamp, that's amazing, I've been watching her for a while, and that's going to pique interest, and then bam, out go your invites. Feel free to copy the one that I've used, edit it, change it. Obviously, if it's friends and family, that's probably not going to be relevant, but you can use some of that content. They're going to be like, yes, I've been watching you. What have you been doing? Because until now, they probably haven't had an invite, which is good, because that you kind of building traction. But if you don't invite them now, then they're going to miss the beginning piece of your journey, which is where you are the single most relatable part of your journey. I wish sometimes I could rewind to the beginning of my journey, because a lot of people can't relate to me. And that's why I'll always tell a then and now story, because people need to be able to see where I've come from. But they can see where you're coming from right now, and you're relatable because they look at you and they go, do you know what? If she can do that and she can get results, then so can I. Okay, so don't literally cut yourself short on an opportunity that I promise you is incredible. Someone put a comment in there. I think my hubby is enjoying it the most at the minute. My bum is a little bit noiseless. I love it. I mean, my husband does the workouts and he has the shake, and he was always like, what is this? Like, he just thought it was rubbish. Now I've got him on everything. So honestly, they'll be your biggest supporters. So yeah, and so hopefully that's given you like a real like bit of motivation, like really understanding how to put those puzzle pieces together. And as I said, after the call, I'm going to send you my visuals for my bootcamp, and you can absolutely copy any text you want off there. Like, don't reinvent the wheel if it's already there. Like, yes, create your own visuals, set up your own little bod group, decide what program you want to put them through. I would advise you're going to run them through the exact same program you're doing, because then you're not going to feel like you don't have the confidence to run it because you've done that workout program. So kind of the next part of the call, I wanted to just quickly touch on a few like key social media points. We will do a separate call on social media next week, but I feel like, you know, as a new coach, there's just a few that are just so fundamental and are so important, and that they won't take me a great deal of time to explain to you guys. I don't want to keep you on all night. So you may or may not already know this, but when you do a post, ensure that you use 28 hashtags, okay? New coaches will often say, like, what are the best ones? Which ones should I be using? Honestly, the ones that are true to who you are. And again, you're probably not going to be able to come up with a list of hashtags immediately. And it does take time initially, but think about who you are, where you've come from, what interests you have, who are your kind of people, and what sort of things do you enjoy. So sometimes I'll put like fitness blogger, fashion blogger, like I'm quite into fashion. I'll put like boy mom. I'll also put like country living. I'll put female entrepreneur. I'll put career girl, corporate girl, women supporting women, feminist. Like, I'm quite a feminist, and I'll just be honest about that. I'll make no apology about it. That's the kind of person I am. So don't be afraid to choose hashtags that somebody else isn't using, because that's the whole point, right? And you want to think about what hashtags you would search, or what accounts you would have gone to before Beachbody. Like, are you a gym girl? Like, we've got like Charlotte, for example, she probably uses gym girl because she's a real gym girl, right? Gymshark women, maybe you're really into the Gymshark clothes or into a particular brand of fitness clothing. So really just think about that. You can always go into other coaches' profiles and look at what they're using, see if you resonate with a few. Try not to use the same hashtags every time you post, because Instagram can think you're a robot and get you kind of shadow banned, which isn't what you want. The other thing that I would say, as I said earlier on, is just make sure that you have 10 stories as a minimum. As I said on that first call, 2 to 3 workout clips, 2 to 3 clips if you're talking about the benefits that you're feeling, 1 of your nutrition, so breakfast, lunch, or dinner, doesn't matter, or a snack, 1 of your superfood, and then a couple of your daily life. Just letting them in a little bit, because the number one mistake we make on social media as new coaches is we're like, I've done this workout, I've done this workout, I've done this workout, I'm eating this nutrition, I've done this workout. Imagine if you went onto someone's page, would you want to continue watching them if that's all there is, all you're seeing? You're not seeing any of their life. You're not seeing whether or not they have kids, or, you know, like, for example, I was away for this weekend and I was doing stuff that isn't my typical coach stuff, and I had double the engagement, right? People want to connect with a real human. And I know at the moment that's quite hard because a lot of us are in lockdown, or actually there's not very many places we can go. Life's a bit boring. But the more interesting you can make your stories, the more engagement you'll get, and the more you're going to connect with your tribe. You can hide hashtags in your stories, which is another way to get people looking for hashtags to look at your stories. So I would always say, like, minimize the hashtag right down so you can't see it, because in my opinion it looks really ugly. But you can put like maybe like hashtag, I don't know, country walking, or maybe you're wearing a certain brand, you can hide that. You can put the location, you can geotag the location and hide that, and that's going to help you find more people in your location. Okay. And with your posts, just really think about have I done a post every day this past week? And I'm sure for a lot of you that's not true. I'm sure you can say, do you know what? I didn't post every week. I didn't quite get to it. It was a bit difficult. Don't feel bad. Like we are here trying to get you guys to create new habits. And that in creating new habits for anybody is not easy and it's going to take time. So be kind to yourself. But if you haven't, look at why you haven't. Did you schedule in the time? Do you maybe need to just schedule 10 minutes a day to plan a post? And I'm sure you guys can find 10 minutes in your day, no matter how busy you are, to plan that post. And think about, you know, I sent, if you go into the photos in the chat thread for our little new coach pod, I've shared a visual with daily posting ideas. So maybe you can just pick 7 and go, do you know what, this is going to be my theme for the week, so that when it comes to the day, it's not really overwhelming, that you're like, I don't know what theme to pick. So maybe when we finish this call, you just go into that visual and you're going to pick the theme for the week, so that then all you've got to do is get the photo. And I'll just say with social media, like, there's very different kind of accounts. You'll see some that are a lot more messy, some that are a lot more kind of real. They haven't been edited in any way. They haven't got a theme. And honestly, guys, that's up to you. But my personal experience is that when you've got a brand, and a brand that you take seriously, that you love, and you respect your page, and you go on your page and you're proud of what you've done, I can promise you that the engagement is going to be higher. Instagram is a highly visual platform. I think we all know that. And I think sometimes, you know, particularly as a newer coach, like, honestly, the visual was not my strong point at all. I literally hated like the idea of like brightening a photo, or like I wouldn't even know where to start. And I was like, oh, it's just not me. Like, I hate all these apps, you know. That was kind of my mindset. But then I actually started to find enjoyment with it. I'd start to think about, right, if I've got a really up close photo of my face, can I get one of me as a landscape shot, right? And just really starting to think about, even at the weekends, and this is like, it's super quick. My other half literally hated the idea of taking photos of me, but he soon got used to it. And it doesn't need to take a lot of time. If you're out with a friend or family member or your boyfriend or whatever it might be, you literally just say, hey, do you know what? I really just would like a photo here, whatever it might be, right? I do that to Guy. I'll stop him on a walk and I'm like, oh, can we just take a couple of photos? And it literally takes him 2 minutes. So when people say to me, like, I don't have any good photos and I don't have time, and I just honestly don't buy it. I really don't buy it. You can get a photo timer on your app. You can get a tripod on Amazon really cheaply. You can even get a light ring that's going to cost you about 30, 40 quid for a cheap one. And I promise you it'll do the trick. So sometimes I'll look through my photos and I'm like, oh, I just don't really have like the kind of shot I want today. So I'll literally get my light ring, I'll put an outfit on, and I'll just think of it. And it takes me probably about 10 minutes, okay? For you guys that work full time, probably doing that in the middle of the day on the week is not a good time to do it. So maybe just to begin with, as new coaches, you need to just start building a bank. But I can promise you, when you start thinking like that, you start to build a bank of pictures really quickly. And then, like, for example, where I am now, like, I just go through and I can find pictures kind of whatever the day. I've got a whole bank. So it's just kind of, again, it's just increasing that conscious awareness of what you're going to need. But really thinking about, and write this down. So you want 28 hashtags, but is my post inspiring, educating, or motivating? Is it inspiring, educating, or motivating? Okay. Oh yeah, you bought a tripod. Yeah. They are super cheap. I mean, literally Charlotte and I went on a walk. She has this really light tripod. We carried it with us and we just put the camera on the tripod as we were walking. We didn't have a photographer and we just had a little clicker. Took amazing photos. So honestly, like, even if you've got no one that can help you take the photos, there's no reason why you can't. But inspire, educate, and motivate. And always, like, and this again takes time. Like, I love writing my posts now. I really, really do. I'm quite creative. But in the beginning, I was really stuck for what to write. And you're not going to be a pro tomorrow. You're really not. And the more that you do this, i.e., so long as you stick to posting every day, I can promise you in a month's time, you'll be like, oh, I actually enjoy this. Or you'll be more true to who you are. You'll get in your groove with it. And again, it's like anything. Once you've started to build that habit, you will feel really weird if you don't do a post one day. Like, I would just feel really weird if I didn't do a post. Because again, it's just a habit. It just happens each day. I got a tripod with a clicker, very handy with kids and family shots too. Yeah, it's super cheap on Amazon. And a little light ring, I don't know, I think that they're going to be more than 9 quid, but I can promise you that if you're serious about your biz and you know, people want to connect with you. Okay. So this is why when you see me in my posts, always there's a picture of me. And the reason for that is not because I'm vain, it's because people want to connect with you, okay? And they cannot connect with you if it doesn't have you in the picture. And certainly kind of one in 3 posts should ideally be of your face or showing your facial expression. Again, it's the closest way that people can build connection with you. And actually looking at my grid recently, I was like, gosh, there aren't any close-ups of my face. I really need that in there, because people like that. That's how we build connection naturally, more so than speech. So you know, like a good time to do them is after you've worked out. Like, don't make them all like in your workout clothes, but a good time to do it is after you've worked out. You can do a little photo timer. And one app that I use is called Snapseed. And basically on all of my posts, I will brighten the picture. I will sharpen it so that all of the features are kind of sharpened so that it doesn't look blurry. But the app I use is called Snapseed. I think it's free. So I always brighten, sharpen, and then I put a bit of a contrast in so that I pop more out of the picture generally. And I try to use a similar kind of effect on every photo so that it's got the same look and feel. Well, I've gone on for about almost 40 minutes. Has anyone got any questions? And please, please, please do ask if there's anything that's unclear, or I'm sure if one person is thinking it, the rest of you may well be, so don't be shy.
I've just got one on boot camps, if I can.
Yeah, go for it.
This was it's similar to what I messaged earlier about the difference between a bod group and the Facebook group, which has the same name. So do you run the same thing in both, or do you run them differently, or etc.?
So really good question. And Sarah, I'm really sorry I haven't got around to listening to your message, so good job you. But I was literally like, Sarah sent me a WhatsApp message and I haven't listened to it yet. Yes, so this is bod groups was a new function in May, okay? And before that, just for context for you guys, we always use Facebook groups, okay? Bod groups came in and it is incredible. It's incredible because if you have a bod group and someone goes into their bod app and they're in your group and they track what they've done, it literally automatically feeds into your group. Through a process of trial and error, what I have realized, noticed, and learned from my boot campers and coaches is that they do not want to check in on bod groups, i.e. they don't want to see a check-in on a bod group. They prefer to do it in a Facebook group. However, I have always run my boot camps in Facebook. So I've always had both. I have never had bod groups alone. Okay. So that's probably why the feedback I get from my customers and coaches is, I want to check in. I want to do the check, the check-in where it's like, how was your workout or whatever. Hopefully you guys have all seen that. So it really is personal preference, and anything that goes into my bod group for me in terms of like, I suppose like level of input needed from me, all it is from me is I copy the text that I use that goes into my Facebook post when I'm sharing, like, the accountability, the workout, the personal development, and the meditation. I copy that. I literally go into my bod group. I do a little selfie to log, and it will automatically track. If you've been doing that, you'll see that it will automatically log that you've done your workout. And I paste the text in and I click share. So I'm not having to do anything additional in terms of like management. And then the daily check-in goes into the Facebook group. Now for you guys, I would say to start with, just do a bod group unless you really want to do a Facebook group, because your boot campers and clients aren't going to know any different, right? So they're going to start checking in on their bod group and it's going to be easier for you to manage. Honestly, for me, I have to go through both. So I do then, I want my clients and boot campers to feel as though they're, they're not just posting and then no one's interacting, and I want them to know I'm there. So then each day I go through the boot camp group in Facebook and the one on the bod group. Okay, so I've got a bit of a unique kind of problem, I suppose. It's not really a problem. I love the fact we've got loads of engagement in both. But for you guys, I would just say set up a bod group, because you can schedule out the post if you're picking one particular program, which you guys all should. I wouldn't do a multi-program one for where you guys are in your business right now. Just make it simple. You can schedule out the post for that program, and bod groups has got that function. So then all you need to do is just go and check your bod group. Yeah, but they are the same thing. They are the same thing. Does that make sense? Yeah. Was that what you were asking? Yeah,
that's fine. And I guess the only reason I ask is I've been running with both platforms at the moment. So my Insta page and my Facebook actual page, if you like, I've been trying to keep up with both, but I definitely have a definitive audience on the two. So I've got some absolute loyal Facebook followers who have never been near Insta, and I've got a significant proportion on my Instagram who won't go anywhere near Facebook. They just won't transfer over, or they've come away from it. And I'm finding certainly my Insta following, which is my cool market, but is becoming my warm market, because I'm building. I've probably got 50, 60 people on there that have now followed me for like 6 months.
Yeah.
They're starting to become warm. But having sort of kind of been, I've tried to get them over to my Facebook group before for other stuff that I've done, and they're just like, we just don't go on, we just don't go near it. So it's quite useful to have bod, because the two can come together, if you like, independently, and not have to cross platform.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, and as I said, like when I started, bod groups wasn't a thing at all, so everyone had to go on, like if they wanted to join, they had to go into Facebook group, right? But you guys don't have that problem. So and I think you're absolutely right with the Facebook and Instagram audiences. That's why my Instagram posts will always share to Facebook, because who engages with my stuff on Facebook is not who engages on Instagram, and who watches my stories on Facebook is not who watches them on Instagram. So like I just wouldn't make it complicated for yourself, unless you feel like Facebook is going to be really strong for you.
No, I think it's, for me, it's Insta. So therefore, just bringing the Facebook people into bod is just a simpler option. So that's cool. Good. Thank you.
Because they're going to be on bod anyway, because that's where they're going to have to do their workout. So quite frankly, all they're going to have to do, even if they don't want to take a photo, is just log the fact they've done it, and you're going to make sure they've got added to the group, and then it's going to log in the group. So it should just be super easy for you guys. And I don't really want to make life difficult for you guys. You don't need to do it. So just keep it super simple and use that functionality. It is amazing. And I know they're like updating and changing it. You can do videos in there, so you can do a little video for your boot campers. So it is really good. Yeah. Has anyone got any other questions? Do fire
on that. I started with a Facebook group and a bod group, and two of my girls, because obviously it was like my first 4 girls that came in, 2 of them weren't even on Facebook, and I just found that Facebook was like, it was redundant. And and as you said to me, just don't make work for yourself. So I just closed the Facebook group and I stick with bod. Just that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's right. And particularly, like, you've got the benefit of having a completely new market. Anyone that comes in isn't going to know any different. So if it was me, I'd be like, we don't do Facebook groups, we just have a bod group. But I can't do that because I've got, the functionality of Facebook, I have to admit, is really, really good. But for you guys now, like, definitely just keep it simple for yourself. And I think the more simple it is, the more excited you'll be, because you won't feel like, oh, now I've got to do both. And that's, like, you guys, most of you guys are working full time. You don't want to have to, juggle both. Yeah. Has anyone got any other questions? Nope. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to do a boomerang, if you guys don't mind. I'm just going to stop recording.